Hey everybody, this is Bryan, and I wanted to jump in and go to our next episode of our tribute here to Grandpa, my Grandpa Brooksby. And I could never give a tribute to my grandpa without talking about my grandma, ever. It's just, I couldn't really do that. It wouldn't be aligned with my grandpa. My grandma was everything to my grandpa. And so here's the thing. Today I wanted to teach you and go through an actual conversation that my wife and I had with my grandma and grandpa. This is when my grandma was alive. This is years ago. I will post, I got to remember the actual year that we actually listened to this, or that we were there. I made a habit in the last decade of my life, maybe a little longer than that when I was with my grandma and grandpa and I was able to get them into a conversation that wasn't just the kids running around and grandparents, you know, that like kind of like, hey, go get some milk or go get some ice cream or whatever it is they were doing with a bunch of us grandkids and great-grandkids. I wanted to make sure that we had like time to learn about them. And so I loved getting their stories, and I have a few more of these that I want to share with my family and my friends. And so I'm guessing that, well, you'll get some insight here on my grandma and grandpa, and you get to hear them kind of talk with each other. Over the years, I've had better and worse recording systems, and this is one of my older recordings, and so it may be a little bit less clear, but I'm working on cleaning that up, making it easier for you to hear. But it's fun, because when we're young and we're dumb, you gotta be tough, right? There's gotta be some things we do. And so my grandma and my grandpa were talking about a couple stories that they had. They were more adventurous in nature that involved cars. And there's a little bit of this first conversation that you don't get because I didn't hit record fast enough. That basically my grandma is talking about that she was in a car with friends and family, and then you'll hear what she does inside that car. So just you're going to kind of get in the middle of that, but she's in the car with friends and family, and it's snowy, icy, and they're coming down a hill of sorts. So that'll be the context you'll need to hear my grandma's story. You get to hear her voice, and I love listening to my grandma and grandpa's voices. And you also hear my grandma and grandpa talk about another adventure that they had when they were stuck apart, and there was some pretty bad just situations there. So simple and fun, but I hope you'll enjoy this little episode of my tribute to my grandpa, and that you will be able to learn a little something about them, and hopefully, you know, friends and family, you'll be able to jump into this conversation and listen to their voices again. I love and appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.
Where were you at?
We were at Jacob Lake on Grand Canyon Mountain, you know.
Uh-huh.
And there's a bunch of us kids and a bunch of teenagers in a car.
Uh-huh.
And the car was slipping, so to come down that mountain, you just had to go slow. And I said, oh, I could walk faster than this, and flipped the door open and jumped out, you know. Oh, the guy stopped the car and come out and just bawled me out good and hard, you know. He said, all the stupid things to do. You could have slid right under this car, and there's nothing I could have done. You know, you don't think as a teenager,
Yeah.
you don't think.
That's true.
To
I
step
just
out
thought
of
I
the car
was
while
being
it's going
Funny. Yeah.
is really a dangerous thing anyway, because you think it's going slow, but you get out, you're not moving. You know, you're moving with the car, but you don't have your feet under you or anything, and you try getting out of the car while it's going. That's a dangerous thing,
Yeah.
even if it's only going 3 or 4 miles an hour.
No, I found that out, you know, but I jumped. Good thing is I jumped out, so I was actually away from the car. But he really cussed me out, boy, I'm telling you.
Like, never
I
gonna do that
meekly
one
got in
again.
the car and stayed there
Humble.
as we slid
Seriously.
down that mountain.
Serious. Oh man. That freaks me out. Snow, like ice on the road. Oh, that makes me so scared and nervous.
Yeah.
You know? I don't think I could ever live somewhere where it
It
has snow
was-
and ice on
Well, one time when Kent was about 9 months old, why, it was income tax season. It was in March, and Carl worked nearly all night. during income tax season.
Oh, yes.
And so I went home. And Carl took me to Flagstaff, and my brother Dick and Evan came down to Flagstaff to get me. Well, it was storming so hard that Carl and his cousin went with him. They ended up staying in a motel, but that was after I left.
We got as far as Williams, we decided, no way we're going any farther, you know.
And Dick wouldn't stop. When you leave Flagstaff going to Kanab, there's really not any
There wasn't
place.
any hotel.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
it would be
not
4
There was
pages.
places we could pull into and just stay, you know, but we'd gone along and we were in a convertible. Wasn't it a convertible?
Yeah,
And
it had the top up, of course, but still
Yeah.
a convertible.
Which isn't very
but
warm.
then his windshield wipers wouldn't work. And we were going up over the north rim of the mountain.
Over the
you know. That was
over-
before Page was there. And before that bridge, you couldn't go that way. You only had to go up over this mountain. And he couldn't see the road. Evan had his head out the front window, and I had my head out the back window, telling him whether we were still on the road.
Wow.
We had every coat we had on. We had on Canada sleep because it was so cold, you know. But we couldn't. He wouldn't stop. He wouldn't. He knew when he hit Flagstaff that it was bad, you know, but he wouldn't stop. We got nearly up over the mountain, and we met my brother Garn in his car. He'd come hunting for us. They figured we'd wrecked somewhere, you
Oh,
know.
wow.
So slow. That was the scariest ride.
Oh, I bet.
And here
That'd be
Carl
so
was
freaky.
all snuggle up in the nice warm hotel.
Seriously.
He was the smart one of the bunch.
Yeah.